tulia ni tuombe. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Arrahmanirrahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin.
Asante sana, tumpigie makofi. Ladies and gentlemen, you can have our seats. Tafadhali tuweze kukaa. Just to remind us, we are here for this Cve Festival, Countering Farm Extremism Festival. Hii ni ya kwanza katika ukanda wa Pwani. Imewezeshwa na mashirika yanayofanya kazi pamoja chini ya mradi wa wajibu wetu. Bila shaka tuko na Forum Cve, tuko na Haki Africa, tuko na Manyata Entertainment Studio, tuko na Pacha Africa pamoja, tuko na host wetu siku leo, si mwingine bali ni Swahili Pot Hub. So ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed, I take this opportunity now to welcome on board Winter 001, mwanzilishi wa Swahili Pot Hub, Mr. Mahmoud Nur, aweze kutukaribisha rasmi katika sehemu hii. Karibu sana, pigeni makofi tafadhali. Ndio kwa sauti. Ndio anapotoka nini pamoja.
Najua kaunti 001 lakini mimi sijui kudance. Unless Sofia kama utafanya kwa niaba yangu. Our chief guest, County Commissioner, Mr. Gilbert Kitio, the Regional Manager from Cve, Jackson Obara, CEO, Kenya Film Commission, my friend, Mr. Timothy Owase, the representative of the Deputy Governor who is here, Dr. Sophia Loul, all protocols observed. Today, my work is very simple. Mimi nimeambiwa niwakaribishe watu. Kwa niaba ya mashirika yote ambayo yamehusika leo, yakiongozwa na kufadhiliwa na Forum Cve, ambayo labda hapo mbeleni tutaelezewa zaidi Forum Cve ni nani. Swahili Pot, Haki Africa, Manyata, Pacha Africa na wengine ambayo wameshirikisha, including Red Cross ambayo naona wako hapa kutupatia first aid. Mimi ni kuwakaribisha hapa kwa festival ya leo ya Cve, na watu wengi watauliza Cve wafanya festival ni ya ingiliana vipi, lakini lazima tusherekee njia tofauti ambazo tumekuwa tunatumia kupigana na ugaidi na pia ukichanganya pia mambo ya uhalifu. Na ni muhimu sana katika dunia siku hizi. Hata ukiangalia serikali kuu wameweka wizara ambayo wameweka innovation ndani, kwa sababu innovation, Kiswahili yangu si nzuri, I wish ningejua innovation inaitwaje kwa Kiswahili, but ni lazima utafute njia nzuri zaidi ama njia mbadala ya kupigana ama kukumbana na mambo fulani, kwa sababu wakati mwingine kufanya mambo ile vile tulikuwa tunafanya kitambo inakuwa ngumu. Na ukiangalia kama janga la violent extremism, sehemu zetu zimeathiriwa sana. Kuna kina mama ambayo wanaathirika kwa sababu watoto wao wameingia katika mambo haya. Kuna vijana wetu ambayo wamechezewa akili wakadanganywa kuingizwa katika mambo haya, na njia moja ya sisi kupeana ile narrative ama kupeana ile story ambayo ni sawa ama the alternative narrative, tunaweza kutumia arts, tutatumia wanamuziki, wanafilamu, na nafikiri leo ni instrumental that tuko na CEO wa Kenya Film Commission, kwa sababu Wakenya wanapenda filamu sana, na ni muhimu tuwe tunatengeza filamu, tunatengeza ubunifu ambaye itatusaidia kupigana na janga hili. So mimi si mtaalamu wa Cve, kwa hivyo mimi nitamalizia hapa na wakaribisha sana Swahili Pot. Swahili Pot ni nyumba ya wasanii na wanateknolojia. So na kabla ya mtoke, wale vijana ambayo bado hawajajiunga na sisi tunawakaribisha sana. Asanteni sana.
My name is Basil Muga and I work in the office of the Deputy Governor. Actually, when I was coming in the morning, once the DG had told me that he's not feeling well and he would not make it for this function, I thought I would just sit somewhere behind there camouflage and maybe just observe, but Meta convinced me otherwise. He persuaded me that this being an inaugural festival, it is important that we also get to hear the thoughts of the Deputy Governor in as far as this entire issue is concerned. So I will read verbatim what he had intended to present here had he been here. So accept his apologies. He usually attends all these functions, but today he couldn't. I'll read. On behalf of His Excellency, the Governor of Mombasa County, I would like to express our gratitude for the support to initiatives to enhance peace and build resilience. We are grateful for all the work done to understand the vulnerabilities exploited by violent extremists to radicalize youth. We also appreciate the role of stakeholders to build an alliance against the threat by creating an environment suited for a peaceful and resilient community. We appreciate that countering violent extremism is a broad issue requiring all actors to play a part. Each one of us, in our unique ways, has a role to play, and this forum demonstrates this. A wide range of expertise, experience, and sensibilities is required. We understand the dynamic nature of the threat, hence the need for innovative approaches that may not be directly associated with the risk. This is because the enemy evaluates the individual's vulnerabilities to target them. Therefore, we should address our mitigation measures on these vulnerabilities. I would want to make 3 pledges to this particular initiative. That one, we pledge our continued support to all initiatives to enhance peace and resilience in Mombasa County. 2, through our dedicated youth and Cve Directorate, we will continue to engage with all actors and stakeholders to ensure the success of all programs. We urge all partners to collaborate to avoid duplication and to build synergies, ensuring value for money in our efforts. We also urge the youth to seize the opportunity arising from these initiatives and others around them, develop themselves and recreate the situations they live in. Let us build on the present to create a better future. Thank you.
Allow me to welcome each and every one of you to this festival, the Cve Festival, organized by our partners in the coastal region, led by Africa, Manyata, Entertainment. We also have Quite Africa, and also we have the Swahili which are hosting us today here. As part of the introduction, I had people ask who is Forum Cve. Forum Cve is a Swedish organization with head office in Stockholm, with different offices globally, and we are in about 70 countries in the world and operating in different regions. Latin America and Caribbean, our regional office for Eastern Southern Africa, we have Eastern Europe, and we have other country offices in Cambodia and Liberia and also Somalia. So our work centers on empowering communities to be able to claim their rights by engaging multi-stakeholders, including the duty bearers, who ensures that the rights of the marginalized communities have been taken care of. But this morning, allow me to read for you a brief presentation about this event, as I welcome each and every one of us to this forum. Violent extremism, as has been mentioned by the previous speaker, is indeed a problem that cuts across. It doesn't have boundaries. It doesn't have boundaries on ideologies. So, as it has been before, it really cuts across different cultures and different communities.
It has been brought about structural marginalization, the breakdown of family and community structures, the proliferation of criminal gangs, youth unemployment, corruption, human rights abuses, individual and collective trauma, among other factors that match in different ways to create an environment conducive to the spread of extreme ideologies, especially among vulnerable youth. So these are some of the pre-existing conditions that make this violent extremism thrive amongst vulnerable youth. Women and girls inequalities, sexual and gender-based violences, marginalization, and lack of opportunities may also make them more susceptible to the appeal of terrorism. Forum C has supported efforts in countering violent extremism in Mombasa and Kwale counties under the Cve program that is emphasizing that respect for human rights and engaging the community is crucial to counter terrorism and extremism ideologies. Our hands-on skills and knowledge of supporting programs linking both the duty bearers. I'm happy to have the chief guest for today, the county commissioner, and putting communities at the forefront of development through our Cve program that is supported by the Swedish Embassy in Nairobi, and we have supported the work of art, media, and employing culture, and the gender-focused civil society organizations to reach out to the mass of the right holders to deepen democracy, strengthen inclusive citizen participation and accountability at the county and the national level. And I'm happy to see the young people, the artists, with their skills and with their talents, to be able to showcase how we can together or collectively fight and counter violent extremism ideologies. So our program of Cve does this through creative avenues like use of music, as we have been entertained here, but it's not just for entertainment, but passing a powerful message of social change, working with the traditional and the new media, artism, that art for activism, cultural festivals, documentaries, investigative journalism, among other approaches that the program uses. At this coastal region, as we say, the partners that we have, Africa, Collaboration of Women in Development, Manyata Youth, Entertainment, Watch Africa, and Council of Imams and Preachers in Kenya, we are working with them to be able to advance the development agenda and really focusing on addressing the issues of countering violent extremism. To explore and reflect on the effectiveness of creative and innovative approaches in countering violent extremism, we came together with strategic partners, which I have mentioned, for this one-day event so that we can share ideas. What are these innovative approaches? What are these creative mechanisms that we can use to work together to be able to really arrest this monster of extremism ideologies? So the choice and setup of this festival is derived from our Cve program of hacking strategy of extending dialogues and conversations to non-conventional, relevant grassroots spaces in a bid to amplify grassroots voices in matters of democracy, human rights, and development as well. So this is one of the forums that we are creating to give voice and space for actors in the development discourse that ordinarily may not have found such kind of a space to also contribute to the development agenda. So it's important to note that CVE relevant work often takes place in challenging environment, and as such may require innovative approaches that may lead to breakthrough and successes. Strategic approaches have to be applied, and which must be multidisciplinary in nature to be able to address issues reflected in human rights, gender, faith-based, art and cultural lenses from which we are all integrating these multiple actors through a different stakeholder approach. The Ankara Memorandum of Good Practices states that CVE requires a multifaceted approach, as various actors can drive violent extremism. The prerequisite of an effective result-oriented CVE strategy, therefore, is to comprehend the complexity of the violent extremism and the proposed contextual approach that will do no harm and engage all the efforts at the local, national, and regional level. This therefore calls for holistic, conflict-sensitive security strategies that addresses the root causes of violent extremism and the balanced security and development challenges. We also know that there are human rights violations. We also know there are security concerns that are associated with dealing with this sensitive matter. But what we call for involvement of multi-stakeholders to ensure that we have all that understanding as we pursue security issues associated with the countering violent extremism. We also have the thin line of human rights abuses that can also come along with that. So there is need to be conscious that many drivers of violent extremism are often contextually based, and therefore there is need for substantial research and design to address in each of these contexts. So context is important for having effective strategies to address. As I conclude, therefore, I cannot overemphasize the power of creativity, innovation, strategic partnerships that we need to work together and get more support. Online and social media platforms, useful in the examination of counter-narratives in multiple languages and it reach broad geographical diverse audiences. Further, more online counter-narrative on countering violent extremism strategies that seek to challenge extremist narratives and the propaganda and extremist context. Working in the media with the media as a change agent to disseminate counter-violent extremism and the building the trust of the same media and actors such as digital activists to complement civil society work to provide credible alternatives in countering violent extremism. I therefore encourage creative approaches, supporting organizations embedding the use of art, culture in strategic countering violent extremism, and therefore creating community engagement and awareness. As well as also incorporate the use of sport and cultural activities in raising awareness of countering violent extremism and the building cohesion among communities. So these innovative approaches provide unique creative outreaches that are attractive to the youth audiences, and through their use of creative arts cultural materials, including music, and putting their talents into effective use. I therefore call for enhanced collaboration mechanisms between government, private sector, local civil society organizations, and the media, and support of joint initiatives with the aim of addressing countering violent extremism effective strategies, and by so doing, together we'll be able to achieve more. So I welcome all the stakeholders to have a productive day of learning, great deliberation.
Thank you, Bwana Jackson.
Sisi tunafurahi kujumuika na nyinyi Mombasa na katika hii shughuli ambayo ndio inachukua kaunti kadhaa, Kwale, Mombasa, Kilifi, na kwa sababu ni vizuri tuje pamoja tuangalie njia tusaidia vijana wetu kwa sababu kama vile Bwana Obare amesema, hii vulnerability, unless we address it, we still continue having a very big problem. Na hawa vijana unakuta saa zingine ni ile kwa lugha nyingine inaitwa ni kujikuta. Huwa anajikuta in a very funny, awkward situation. Kwa hivyo tunafurahi sana na tunashukuru pia Forum C, ndugu zetu Haki Afrika na wale wote ambao wameshirikiana kuandaa shughuli hii, Tunafurahi na tuko pamoja na nyinyi all the way. Thank you very much and God bless.
Asante.
Bwana Njenga from MCTC, Mr. Wade from Kenya Film Classification Board, the ladies and gentlemen from the NGO world who sponsored today's events, all participants, good morning. Hamujambo. Mine will be very brief, but before I say anything, I will, in a few minutes, few seconds, invite Mr. Wade to say something. But before that, I want to thank all the sponsors of this festival. And I realized I don't need to belabor to remember the names because they are here. Forum SIF, Wajibu Wetu, Haki Africa, Manyata Youth Entertainment, Pacha Africa, Swahili Port, and all others who have made this day a success. Thank you very much for that. Secondly, I know we have collaborated a lot with the partners within Mombasa and even within this country to address this issue of CVE. Our success is mostly due to the assistance from these well-wishers. We don't take that for granted. Tuwapatie makofi kwa hiyo. So before I say anything, let me welcome Mr. Wade. Please come and say a word or so of encouragement to the participants. Asante, karibu.
Bwana County Commissioner, all invited guests, on behalf of the Board of Kenya Film Commission, I'm pleased to be here together with my team. We are happy that today we are celebrating and participating at the Cve Festival. When we talk about extremism, this is a societal problem. And as a public servant, my personal role is to engage communities. The Kenya Film Commission's role is to engage the communities and to bring us together to create understanding, because through film, you are able to communicate, you are able to entertain, you are able to bring out issues, you are able to learn from others. So today, my key message is to the young people that let's apply our creativity and innovation to add value to our environment or the community that we live in. In the society, we face various issues, both negative and positive, and these issues have to be brought out. And the best way to bring them out is to tell a story. So we at the Commission, we are storytellers, and we want everyone to tell a story from wherever you are. The region is known for many storytellers. There is a program called Cve. We have quite a number of artists that are emanating from Swahili Port, and we would like to see many more young people empowered, and that's why we are here to just confirm that we would like you to tell your story. And when your story is well told, then you should be able to earn from that story. You should be able to make a change to the next person, and also provide room for real decision making, especially from us leaders. As I conclude, allow me to re-emphasize the role of film and innovation, or arts and innovation in our communities. I urge everyone who is here that your first step will add a lot of value in bringing that one person who is engaged in extremism to the table. That first step will help all of us to save lives, to also add value in terms of growing our economy through the richness of our heritage. The coastal region is well known for its rich culture. How best do we turn this culture if not through film? And I must thank the mentor for the role he's playing here. Just to promise, the commission is here for a purpose, and tomorrow I want to surprise you that we would like to play a role in enhancing the skills of the young people in this region. With those remarks, I wish to thank you, and let's all celebrate and engage and help our country to grow. Because when our economy is up, everyone will be happy. Thank you very much.
Sanitizer. But I'm not sure if it works. But let me have faith that this working. Otherwise, I promise not to say much, because a lot has been said about violent extremism. Maybe my starting point is none of us here maybe has gone through the process of being an extremist. So we might not understand much what it is like to be a terrorist. But I can tell you for sure, it is not a bed of roses to be a terrorist. Because one will leave their familiar environment, they will go to a different environment, then they will become a renegade, running away from the law, with no chance of ever settling back home. It's a very bad experience, both for the individual and even to the families of those individuals. That is why, even as we celebrate today in this festival, as individuals, we must really think of how you yourself can be able to save one person or two from joining some of these extremist groups. There's a Chinese saying that says, I hope there's nobody from China. It says, every man does what they can. You only do what you can. What you cannot, you leave it to the other person to do it, because they will do it. So as individuals, let us do what we can. Try to save that one or two persons from joining this violent extremism. That way you would have played your part in this thing. One thing I can tell you for sure, up to this point in time, we are succeeding. But we still need to do a lot for it not to recur. Mr. Njenga here will tell you, even myself, Khalid and others, that in the past few years, we have not had a lot of recruitments into this violent extremism. Unlike in the past, when it was almost becoming fashionable for the youth to join some of these groups, that one, the trend has now changed. But we need to keep the momentum. And I'm happy that now we are beginning to come up with innovations which can attract the youth You know, maybe before that it was very boring, just being spoken into, ni mambo ni mbaya, that, fanya kazi ingine. But now there are innovations. We know the youth are very energetic, they are very creative, and for your information, those violent extremism will not come for that son of yours who is not very clever. They will always come for that son of yours or daughter of yours who is very clever, because they know they will tap into them. And those are the kind of youth who can easily embrace these issues of innovations. So I want to thank you for that. This is a very creative way of trying to engage the youth so that they don't engage in those activities. Myself and Mr. Njenga, we had the privilege of working in Lamu as commissioners. And we saw the way some of those youth were suffering. They were really suffering. Because once they join those groups, it becomes very difficult for them to rejoin their families and even their communities. Some of them become wanted people wherever they are. They become wanted and hunted. And they are being hunted even at home. That's why sometimes when they decide they want to return, we must look for ways and means of embracing those people. Kwa hivyo tukitoka hapa, tafadhali kwa hiyo kijiji hapo, eneza ile injili, eneza ile ujumbe, hasa kwa vijana. Because some of them are looking for opportunities in life which are hard to come by. And if you don't give them those good ideas, other people will give them other ideas. And they will join very bad groups. I'm really grateful to NGOs like Cve Africa and others. They have been very, very resilient. Hawakuwahi kutoka in trying to assist the youth. And none of us will get tired. Because getting tired means we will lose all those good people ambao tuko na wao. However, even today as we celebrate, let us bear in mind that after this, you have a task as an individual or as a group to assist the youth back at home. Actually, you will not be assisting the government. You will be assisting the youth back at home. We have dance troops like this one and others who pass their messages in theaters and other places. You know, the youth get very bored with speeches. I'm sure even now they are getting tired. Ewe Buddha anatuambia nini sasa? Angewacha hizi ngoma zitambaye. Mahmud, naona ulisema hujui kudansi. Lakini leo tumepata mwalimu atakufunza. Kuna kijana mdogo hapa. I think we will assign him that role. That is very good. It shows that already there is a talent which is ongoing. And there are many youth out there who have a lot of talents, but they don't know where to exercise. Please let us identify them and nurture them so that they also become good people later in life. I also want to urge other groupings. Mombasa now is very quiet. It is very peaceful. And for now, we don't have any group in Mombasa which is proscribed by law. Zile zipo sheria inatambua, including MRC. Mahakama ilisema sasa wao they are a legal entity. But those people who speak to them, tell them if they are legal, let them do their things in the open. Waitishe mkutano, wafanye mkutano yao, wafanye kila kitu na kila kitu. I'm saying that because we have youth here. Please don't be dragged into another round of battle with the government. Tafadhali. Kama wao wameamua ni wako sasa wametambulika na sheria, wajiandikishe kama chama, wafanye kila kitu, mikutano, kila kitu. Nasema hivyo kwa sababu tunasikia tu kuna mambo inachemuka na haitakuwa mzuri. As we head into election, let us advance another front. And I'm saying that because we have people here who can pass the message effectively. That as we go towards 2022, we want everything to be on top of the table. Nothing should be under the table. Tukifanya hivyo, mambo itakuwa shwari, Mombasa itakuwa shwari, nchi yetu itakuwa shwari. Nikiona hapa na vijana wengi. Vijana wako na matumaini kwa maisha. Ni kweli? Kenya ikiharibika, hiyo talanta yako utapeleka wapi? It will go to waste. If you are working and you have hope of getting a promotion, nchi ikiharibika, utakuwa promoted wapi? Maybe you have your small business which is upcoming. You have a lot of hope that it will grow. Tukirudi kwa mambo ya vita, everything will go back to nothing. So we all love this country. Nataka tuweke ikae mzuri, tuwe na sherehe kama hizi, na tuombe kwamba corona iende. So that now, hata sasa watu wakivaa mask ujui nane. Watu wanaweza kujificha kwa mask. Kwa hivyo tujichunge pia na corona. Tujichunge nayo. Na tuombe Mungu. Kwa sababu bahati mbaya wakati huu mtu akipata corona kusaidiwa ni ngumu sana. Hiyo ni ukweli ambao iko. Sasa tuko pamoja hivi. But if it isolates you as an individual na uko mgonjwa ikuweka chini, sasa hata mahali pa kutibiwa ni ngumu sana. Kwa hivyo tafadhali naomba ukitumia public means, jaribu hakikisha kwamba umevaa barakoa. Hakikisha kwamba usikubali kuwekwa zaidi kwa hiyo gari. Ukienda kwa supermarket, fanya mambo ya sanitizing kabla hujaingia. Na ufanye shopping yako haraka. Na nunua haraka unatoka. Ukienda kanisa ama msikiti, ni hivyo hivyo. Weka hiyo social distance na kila kitu. Unajua kuna watu wakishikwa kwa sababu ya kuflout hizo vitu, wanalalamika kwamba kula jela hakuna social distance. Unajua saa nyingine huwa anacheka na wewe umeshikwa huko nje hujafanya social distance. Sasa jela unapata social distance gani? Fanya social distance huko ili usiende wapi? Ndio pande hiyo. For your information, there is no social distancing in police cells. Hakuna. In jail there are no social distancing. Mkiingia mnajazwa tu. Mnajaa tu and there are no apologies. Mnajaa tu. So the best thing, jichunge usiende huko. Ujichunge usiende huko. Because kuna watu wengi sana wanashikwa saa hii kwa matatu. Hajavaa barakoa ama ameweka hapa. Wengine wanashikwa kazi usiku na vitu kama hizo. Tafadhali, as young people who have gone to school, let us avoid those loopholes. Let us just remain above the law, and we also assist other people. Otherwise, nashukuru sana mpata hapo mafunzo ya kutosha, ili hiyo mafunzo mwenda muitumie. Let us get as much information as we can. Let us embrace the innovations, and we cascade it to wherever you are. Understand there are people from Kilifi, Kwale, elsewhere, Mombasa here, and even Nairobi. Let us take them back. This Swahili port imesaidia sana. And by the way, this Swahili port inatambulika up to the highest levels in this country. A sanitizer ambao tutaanzia, alafu nao panel pia wataingia baada ya watu kuuliza. Tunauliza how can youth, and particularly girls, but sababu tunaona vile wasichana wako katika the center of the issues that we are talking about. So how can youth, particularly young girls, explore innovation and creativity to protect their rights and counter violent extremism? So swali tunalouliza ni vipi vijana hasa kina dada ama wasichana wanapoweza kutumia ubunifu, innovation na creativity katika kulinda haki zao na kupigana na ugaidi ama itikadi kali katika jamii yetu. So that is the question we want to ask. The plenary of free to also contribute on that issue. But first of all, tunawapa opportunity our guests. They can speak at their own pleasure, ili waweze kutusaidia kujua ni vipi tunaweza ku-explore creativity and innovation in countering violent extremism. Who will go first? Sawa, Bwana Kasema, tutaanza na
mimi nitasema kwamba tukiangalia watoto wa kike ama wasichana wako na they have a very strong way of being creativity kuhakikisha kwamba wana fight violence extremism. I'm saying this because some of them they have different talents, na wengi ni watu ambao wako very creative in terms of engaging into artwork, kwa sababu ukiangalia kama Mombasa kuna wasichana ambao hata wanapaka piko, na that is art. And I'm telling you that people can change to be something which can really change the atmosphere or the information ambao tutakuwa tunaangalia kusimamia violence extremism. Pili, wanawake wenyewe wamepewa kipawa na Mwenyezi Mungu. They are so powerful in terms of convincing even boys to drop away from what they are doing.
Is that true?
Yes. I believe that
boys,
young women, they are so strong, very strong, depending on what they believe in. I know they can really make sure young boys or boys ama men wanaweza wafanya wa drop zile ideas zao chafu, because these are the people who are very strong. A lot of things are happening, but when women comes in, they make things happen in a different way. So I believe they're so creative. What they need to do is to apply their creativity in terms of fighting violence.
Thank you very much. Do you agree with that? Thank you very much. Yes. Manawezo.
Asante sana. First of all, I will look at your question.
Yes.
And directly connect it to our behavior. And when we talk about innovation and creativity, for us in the creative sector or arts, we hold the key, because it's about perception, it's about attitudes, it's about how we are guided or led, how we interact with our peers, and so on. So applying innovation and creativity in curbing extremism, and more so when we talk about women, I think it's a call for us to use arts to change these behaviors. So for parents and for us in position of leadership, to provide the necessary support to the young ones or the artists like the ones we've seen here today, in terms of empowering them. I'll give an example of what happened here earlier on. We had quite a number of entertainment groups, dancing, acrobatic, and so on, and we were all entertained. But the question is, and I hope the teams that were here are being paid what they are worth, so that when they leave, going back to their houses, they know they have earned because they've been working. Remember, we are seated, but them they are working. What do? We give them a token. Why can't we ask them to give us an invoice so that we pay them what is worth? Yes, so that is just one example.
Yes.
Number two, I'm convinced that through creativity and arts, we are able to create awareness. We create awareness, we create understanding, and we are able to identify solutions to the problems that are emanating from the society. If we don't do this, then what remains, it's about us versus them. And yet we are not supposed to create a bridge. We are supposed to create an understanding for us to move together towards one vision. Technology has given us room that all these young artists are now able to share what they have to share to anyone across the globe. And that's why, again, I refer to Swahili Pot, providing an avenue for these youths to nurture their talent. After they have nurtured their talent, how do we ensure that they are able to get a meaningful life in terms of livelihood? That is possible when we are able to show them the way. Lastly, I do believe that we've got quite a number of key storytellers. Mama Ngina, it's called Mama Ngina what? Yes. We have this facility here, including where we are. How do we make use of this facility or any other facility to use entertainment and creativity as a source of knowledge? Because when we do this again, that is use of innovation and technology to communicate what afflicts and what is positive in our community. And also, let us not only look at the negative side. Through film, you are able to role model others. Those who have been successful in filmmaking, acting, are able to show a good example. So this is a very diverse topic that I believe we are addressing issues to do with behavior change, and behavior change can be really addressed through various modes of interaction, and this is one of them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll be opening it up to plenary to also give your comments, but of course from the panel we have also very able ladies. We have of course Madam Emma, Madam Ulfat, Madam Sophia, and our guest in the panel. But let's hear from Madam Ulfat. Yes. Can we get sanitizer, please? Can we sanitize the microphone? From the plenary, please feel free if you want to speak. Unataka kuchangia labda vile unaona vijana vipi tunaweza kutumia creativity and innovation, violence, extremism. We'll also give you an opportunity. Yes, madam, please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Khalid Hussein, Acting Africa Director, and all the organizers of this event, and all the other participants and my fellow panelists. My name is Ulfat Hussein Masibo. I work with an organization called Africa Muslim Network. And this question specifically is in the heart of what we do. Women's rights gender equality, women empowerment. Those are the objectives of one. And I'm a feminist also. So my views and contributions will go directly to our Muslim girls. We have seen many performances. We can as well dance in our abayas. We can be creative enough also. We can join our brothers and sisters into innovative, creative works, so that the other Muslim world, this is a global pandemic, this is a global threat. Any other person in other part of the world, maybe Asia or the United States of America, through our brother here who is presenting film commission, we love him to create more spaces for girls, more positions for our ladies who are talented, Muslims, Christians, all of us Mombasa residents and beyond, so that women can have full empowerment into the creativity sector. Other than that, we can have women empowerment programs, girls child education. We can hold hands together, Swahili Pot and other partners, come up with activities of empowerment. You know, we have different arts within ourselves. We love cooking, we love weddings, and we love Maulid festivals. We can come up with a session to create awareness in our communities. Here in Old Town, there are a lot of weddings happening on a normal occasion. Weddings in Mombasa have no season. Every day is a wedding day. So we can take that opportunity to also go to grassroots levels and pass the message across. Alongside that, we can also be champions in our own capacity as girls to be advocates for countering violence extremism. Maybe Happy African can have a program to empower these girls to work beyond their limits. Other than that, thank you so much.
Thank you, Madam Ulfa, for that very, very insightful contribution to the discussion. And on the issue of programs, I know when you talk of programs, you're talking about projects and community outreach and stuff like that. But we also have Al-Shifa, community media here. And in one way or another also contributing in terms of community television and programming and all that. Perhaps we'll also give you an opportunity at some point, once the panelists have also given us their views on how you feel as a TV station. You can also contribute in terms of countering violent extremism using a television. Yes, Madam, anyone can go first.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For me, I think it boils down to the opportunities that we give to girls. It starts from the government. I feel like most of the strategies that have been taken to help girls have come from the private sector, and this does not show a good picture. So I feel like the government should be more involved in making gender conscious and gender equitable budgets to help girls, and even access to space. Because in a space like this in Swahili Pot, because I speak about Swahili Pot because I know about Swahili Pot best, and I've seen a number of girls who have been involved in innovations here at Swahili Pot under the banner of Pwani Techno Girls. And I feel like and we are all here because of the partnerships, because of the networks that we have created, and I feel like the government could do more, because I feel like the burden has been left to the private sector. So opportunities and gender conscious, gender equitable budgets for me. Thank you so much.
Brilliant. You say Pwani Techno Girls. That sounds very interesting, and maybe at some point we'll also get to hear more about that. As the microphone is also being sanitized, perhaps you could ask Jenga Mihiri to be thinking through that challenge that has been thrown to the government. What is the government doing to also assist in terms of using creativity, and particularly for girls? How can we work with them? But yes, Dr. Safia, please, your views.
To some extent, first I would like to somehow disagree with my learned friend, to some extent. When it comes to opportunities given, yes, the private sector is playing a role, but when it comes to countering violence extremism, it is not playing such a huge role. Not a role like the government or the county government and civil society organizations are playing. I think the private sector can play a big role by getting involved in the projects that are already there from the action plan that the government and the national and county governments have. They can give youth opportunities by employing them, giving them internship so that they can earn. They can give scholarships. There's a project going on in Kwale. There's a project called Adapt a Village that organizations can now improve on a village or select a few members of the village to come and train them and recruit them and give them an opportunity. So I think there's more that the private sector can also do, as much as they're doing quite a number of things. I come from the private sector, and having an organization that empowers and educates girls as well in the NGO field. I believe the way to counter violence extremism is through education. Education is a powerful tool that we can use to inform the young ones at such a young age about their rights, about knowledge. I mean, seeking and yearning for knowledge is something we all have as human beings. That's what we yearn for. And creativity and innovation is basically knowledge management. So when we give them the power and the tool to seek knowledge, which is an obligation for all Muslims, men and women, boys and girls. So when we use that education as a tool from a young age, we teach them to tap into the internal resources which every human being has been given by God. I mean, you have commitment, you have drive, you have energy, you have intellect, you have talent and ability. And when you learn to use that, you become empowered. And that's when you can earn and provide for societies and nations and families. Thank you.
Brilliant, brilliant. So that's also, I mean, education. That's from Dr. Sophia. But then also a challenge again to the private sector. Perhaps we need to do more to address matter VE in our communities. Mr. Njenga Mary.
Thank you, Hussein. Thank you, colleagues. I think this is a very good idea and coming at the right time because Hussein, as you are aware, we are really trying to mainstream PCV in all our activities, and I'm very happy that we can already see it happening here. Both for government, both in terms of county government and the national government, we want that one to become the way of doing business because VE is a big threat to the security of all of us. I would also want to echo my colleagues that how do we do it? First of all, we must appreciate, and especially the art, like what we have seen here today. Through that entertainment, there was a lot of knowledge, a lot of education being passed. I think as a mode of communication, we should now start elevating it to a higher level. When we recognize it as such, we are definitely going to invest more on it. So even in all our endeavors of dealing with PCV, maybe we should start this, and I'm very happy that cost already we can now see it happening. I know our brothers here and our sisters have been doing a lot. I didn't know that it is of this magnitude, but this is an area that we can really invest in. The other thing that I would want to say is that we have a lot of funds within government, youth funds, CDF, and all these funds which are very flexible, and especially on matters youth. This is the high time that we start lobbying, we start making everybody have some pie of this coming to the innovation of the youth, and especially on arts. The other aspect which I want to say is that, as my colleague here said, we have to pay and invest what it is worth of these products. It's very unfortunate when you see the youth who are here, the kind of energy they have put into it. I believe the practice, because they must have done a lot of practice. Honestly, I doubt whether anybody was really taking care of them. And I was getting already here, and I was telling the county commissioner, with all this energy, if these fellows are not utilized properly, they can be very dangerous. And I think that's why they have become dangerous. We have ignored the power of the youth, the energy of the youth. Is the high time that we rooted this energy on the right path, so that we can use it positively before an enemy uses it negatively. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And where is Al-Shifa? Oh, okay, so they're coming. But then what Mr. Miri has talked about takes us to our next question. And the question that we want to ask actually is supposed to come from this end. And we would like you now to raise your concerns, your challenges, your experiences. We've done the first half session of this panel, and we've heard from our colleagues. But the question we want to hear from you, or at least your experiences, what are the challenges that you face in arts, in media, in ICT, that stop you from exploring your talents further? We are here, we are talking about arts. I think Mr. Njenga Miri has talked about so much energy being put into the performances that we've seen here today. So the question is, what are the challenges that you face, or maybe not you, everyone faces, in terms of exploring art, ICT, and media to address some of the community challenges that we are faced with, including VE. So we'll start with Mr. Kate up there, who can also contribute, and then we have my brother here. But we want to hear zile challenges, changamoto ambazo nyinyi mko nazo katika kutumia art, katika kutumia ICT na katika kutumia media kuweza kuendeleza bidii zenu. Is it that it doesn't pay? Challenges ni kwamba ni ngumu, labda hamuna energy kufanya, ama mko wachache katika jamii ambao mnajihusisha na art, ama Swahili Pots haisaidii ama inasaidia vipi? So let's hear from you, and then of course we'll throw it back to our panelists to also give their input. Yes.
Thank you, sir. Let me use Swahili. Asante. Kwanza ningependa kushukuru kikao hichi na kongamano hili liko hapa. Jambo la kwanza ambalo liko pale, nafasi za vijana za kujitokeza na kufanya shughuli zao. Mara nyingi huwa tunasema hizi nafasi ziko, lakini ukweli wa mambo hizi nafasi hakuna na tumezifunga, na kama ziko hazipatiwani. Kwa hivyo hapo kuna challenge kubwa kwa vijana. Pili, tuko katika vikao hichi tunaongelea mambo mazuri ambayo yako pale. Ni kweli sababu ya COVID kwamba hatungekutana watu wengi, lakini sasa hivi tunatumia teknolojia ambayo tunaita social media. Ni kina nani wanaangalia social media kama si hawa vijana? Wale wazee na kina baba kina nyanya wako wapi? Wamewekwa wapi ili kuona kwamba watoto wao wako na talanta na wanaweza kusaidia kwa njia moja ya kupigana vita hivi? Je, watafikiwa vipi? Hilo ni swali ambalo ni swali nyeti na linafaa kujibika. Manake tunapotumia mitandao hatufikirii wale wengine, bali tunajifunga sisi wenyewe. Kwa ndugu yangu ambaye yuko hapa kwa Kenya Film, tunasema yes, tuko na platforms na tunaweza kufanya hizi shughuli. Lakini swali tunajiuliza, mimi nilipokuwa nikikuwa mdogo, kuna kila baada ya kwa mwezi kulikuwa na filamu za bure. Zilikuwa zinaonyeshwa usiku. Leo hii hizo filamu zimeenda. Kwa sababu kwa filamu hizi pengine michezo hii ndio ingekuwa inaonyeshwa pale tukawafikia kwa haraka, kwa sababu ilikuwa inatutoa sisi vijana katika hali ya uhalifu na kuhakikisha tuko katika hali ya kusoma. Lakini leo hii nafasi hizo pia hazionekani. Kumaanisha ile milango ya vijana kufanya ama kujitolea kufanya shughuli zao hazionekani. Pia katika vikao vya maana, vikao mahali vijana wanaweza kutoa habari na kujieleza, hatuwapi nafasi. Ama wakati tunapochaguana, tunachagua inakuwa kwamba kijana haonekani. Katika katiba yetu inasema kijana haonekani, lakini leo tukifanya audit, tuangalie katika vile vikao vyote ambao viko pale, vijana utawapata katika hivyo vikao? Ama utakuta ni mimi mwenye miaka 40 na niita mimi ni kijana? Mimi ni kijana kweli? Hapa tunadanganyana. Ukweli waambiwe, watu wajifungue, vijana wapate nafasi zao. Asante.
Nakubaliana na wewe, si kijana. Asante sana. but I'm raised very, very important questions. I think the panel has taken note. Ya kwanza, these spaces are not enough. We need like 100 Swahili pots. We need 100 mentors so that they can replicate what is happening here across. So the challenge to us here, what can we do to make these facilities available to our youth? Umezungumzia nafikiri kule Nairobi kulikuwa na ni Mr. Shaw ama alikuwa anaitwa nani? Alikuwa akiingia mitaani just out of nowhere akionyesha film. So Kenya Film Commission, what role are you playing in taking film to the community? Instead of people looking for film, you going to the and of course opportunities for youth. Perhaps Emma and Dr. Sophia. How can youth be more vocal? How can they be heard more in forums? We don't need to have sessions like this specifically for youth, but we want youth in those mainstream agendas, those mainstream activities. Ulva, how can youth partake in that? Thank you very much, Kate. Those are very, very useful points. Na bado vijana opportunities tunawapea na hatusikii vijana wakiongea, alafu usiseme hatuwapi opportunities. Yes. Kuna kijana pale naona mkono, and ladies, naona mikono bado ni za wavulana. Where are the ladies? Where is Firdaus? We want to see ladies also talking. Yes. Saidia, please switch it on.
How are you all?
Fine.
I'm Willis Ombima. I'm a youth officer from the national government. I just want to make a comment pertaining to opportunities available for you in talents as a way of curbing violent extremism and other forms of crime. I think to start with, Kiswahili. Niko sawa? Okay, thank you. I think to start with, it should not be an issue of you versus him. It should be an issue whereby we can be able to pull our resources and our abilities together. The burden does not lie on the shoulders of government alone. The burden lies on the shoulders of Kenya, both government and non-governmental organizations and private entities. When you have structures like Swahili Board, which we really applaud of it, because out of this, so many opportunities, so many youth have been able to get opportunities to be linked to potential markets where their talents can be able to earn for them. But Swahili Board alone cannot do much. So we need to have a scenario whereby CSOs, faith-based organizations, government organizations, both national government as we, and county government, we can be able to stand together, plan and work together, not in a competing format, but in a complementary manner, so that we can be able to multiply, the opportunities available for you. When I look at organizations within Mombasa, there are quite many. But why can't we diversify the opportunities, how we create these opportunities for young people to earn, not just to perform? We don't call them just to dance before a meeting, but can we be able to engage them and contract them so that they can be able to earn? I think that's one thing we need to do. It is both government and non-governmental entities to play together. And then the second thing, I think by the nature of young people, I'm a youth at heart. I'm not youth. Actually, I'm about 50. I'm here because I'm a government officer. I started working for this service when I was a youth. But let us understand one thing. Na vijana mnielewe kabisa. Government cannot give each and every person a job. That one will never happen. And government plays a key facilitative role. We cannot, government alone cannot create employment for 30 million or 15 million youth. It is when government works with youth, when government works with the various entities. So what is there is, when we work, sisi kama vijana, wacha nitumie Kiswahili hapo. Sisi kama vijana, tukiangalia ni nini hasa tunachokihitaji, alafu tuweze kufata ama kukaribia ofisi za serikali. Sisi sote hatuwezi kupata youth fund. Sisi sote hatuwezi kupata women fund. Sisi sote hatuwezi faidika kwa ngafu. But kuna yule akienda ngafu atafaidika. Kuna yule akienda youth fund atafaidika kwa facility fulani. Kuna facilities nyingi. Na wacha nichukue facility moja kwa youth fund. For youth fund there is what we call talanta loans. Hizi ni loans zinazopewa vijana ambao wako katika sekta ya talents, arts. Unaenda pale, unaelekezwa. Kila mkopo mali unapotolewa, it has its conditions. Kwa hivyo mtaelekezwa, hii inaenda hivi, hii inaenda hivi. Na kwa hiyo itakuwa rahisi. Kwa hivyo ikimalizia ni kuwa there are opportunities, but we need to work together. Let's not compete negatively. Let us be able to complement each other, knowing that government is there, but government alone cannot deliver. With all of us, government plays a key facilitative role. Let us come together to be able to deliver for the youth.
Thank you very much. That is the youth officer. We need to complement each other, and funds are there, opportunities are there. Tusikie kutoka kwa kijana, as I also look forward to hearing from a lady youth also. Yeah, okay. So I'll come back to you, and then we give our panel an opportunity to respond. And perhaps we will begin with Dr. Nadia, so that we can also hear from her. Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Kwa majina naitwa Daniel Kinyanjua. Nimezaliwa hapa Mombasa Hospital, kwa hivyo mimi Kinyanjua Mombasa. Mimi ni msanii, najulikana kama Dan Sonko. Dan Sonko. Nimeact kwa Bete, nimeact kwa Karibani Dynasty. Nimefanya vitu vingi sana, projects za wasanii hapa. Nimependa sana point ya CEO akiongea kuhusu invoicing na watu walipwe haki yao, na nimependa comment moja hapa kuhusu spaces. I applaud Swahili Pot and what they have done. We talk about youth and we talk about people getting spaces like this to work in. My only question is this, and I speak as a person who has been fighting for the last 6 months. Who are the people, either within government or within private sector, who have an ear for the youth? We've spoken about this COVID season. Tumeongea kuhusu social media being the only forum that we have at the moment. This might not be the space to raise it, but we have spaces even within Mombasa. I have made a lot of noise about, for example, the Little Theatre Club. It is a national heritage site. There's a corporate takeover that is happening there. I have made noise, nimechoka. I cannot fight as one person. So, what can we do to safeguard such spaces, such that we can empower and have youth go in there and start working? Like we have been told, serikali haiwezi kupatia kila mtu kazi, lakini kuna wale miongoni mwetu tunaweza create employment for our fellow youth, but hizo nafasi hatupewi. How can we get assistance?
Opportunities for youth. How can they be assisted? How can they be part of the national processes that are ongoing in the country? Brilliant, thank you. There's a lady here. Let's hear from a lady, and then we'll come to another lady, and then tutarudi tena. I know I have 2 hands. Tutarudi tena kweli. So, yes.
Naitwa Male Makubaka kutoka Lamu, lakini naishi Mombasa. Bado nilikuwa na mpongeza wa Cve Sports and the youth officer na watu wote walioandaa warsha hii, na mimi ningetaka kusema mungefanya mambo kama haya pwani nzima, kwa sababu huku kwetu kazi katika area zote ambazo ziko affected na unemployment, I think pwani tuongoza, na pwani katika maeneo yote sisi ndio tuko na ile culture nyingi kama Swahili, kama kwetu Lamu Pate, huko ndio origin ya Swahili, na kuna mambo mengi kama kushona kofia, kama kushona vikapu, ambao kama government ilipobani hii mambo ya plastic, tuli expect tutapata opportunity kwa youth waambiwe washone vikapu vao na viwe marketed huko kwingine, zitumike katika supermarket yote Kenya, ambao create employment, kwa sababu watoto wengi sasa wamesoma lakini hakuna makazi, but they have other things ambazo ni za culture pia. So at the same time tungekuwa build culture yetu na pia tunawa empower economically. So maybe you could set up hizi vitu kama hivi pia Lamu, I'm sure Kwale pia wana mambo yao kama haya, Kilifi, ndio sisi kama Pwani to enrich culture zetu, at the same time we empower the youth, badala kukaa barazani na madigrii. Wajua degree ikifanya kitu kibaya yafanya kibaya zaidi kushinda ule ambaye hajasoma. Shukran.
Very nice, very interesting point there. Mwenye hana degree ndio fanya maovu na mwenye degree yafanya maovu makubwa zaidi huku. The last time, but I think it's also a challenge to not just Swahili folks, but also to the organizers, Forum C, Haki Africa, Manyata, Kwacha. How can we take this up along the entire coast? Because it's a challenge na wale wengine pia wanataka waweze kufikiwa. Thank you very much, my sister. The last contribution, then we come to the panel. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. My concern is, I feel as though we are not really looking to the future, because we are currently a digital economy, and the world is getting very, very automated, digitalized at a very, very fast rate. So how can we have creativity and ICT, digital technology, support each other? Yes? Because like artists, we had a beautiful performance here, but what if that was uploaded on other platforms, right? So the particular group can get money through various channels. So that is combining creativity and ICT. Yeah? So I feel as though while we are looking for solutions, let us look to where the world is headed. Let us think ahead in terms of digital economy and automating our systems, automating how to make money online. And I think that way anybody who has access to internet can easily sell their products or their services or their shows, whatever they have. That's what I had to say.
Brilliant, and of course we'll also get to hear from her more. She's in the afternoon panel, so these ideas will also be generated further. Digital economy, it's a challenge to us. Tunauliza tunalipwa vipi? How do we gain? Siku hizi naambiwa YouTube ukifika I don't know how many likes, you are paid. Yeah? So the talents that we have, the potential that we have, how do we explore the digital world for us to be able to earn? But as I come back to the panel, let me just, nimeambiwa na my fellow organizers, to communicate this very clearly, that every performance that you've seen here today, kutokea kule juu mpaka hapa, they are not being exploited, everyone is being paid. Wale artists wote, wale wana perform, everything you see here, we all sat and agreed, yes, this is an opportunity for them to showcase their work, but then we've also made sure that they have earned from what they will be doing here today. So over to the panel, and we'll start with Dr. Najia, and then we'll come to Mr. Njengamir, and then of course all the panelists will have, what time? Yes.
Asante sana Hussein. Thank you very much for all of you being here, and this platform, I think it's the first one of its kind, and it's very important that we create more of these platforms. Going back to our initial questions with regards to young ladies, I think if we go back to history, or to even creation, it was the young lady who initiated the creation, more or less. Adam was there for quite a long time, but there was no creation. And then the lady came in and creation happened. So, ladies, we are, the cradle of everything. Coming back to cost, I think there's a lot of indigenous knowledge that you're not tapping into it. And as much as we are trying to do it, there was a day somebody was talking about being rich and being wealthy. These are two different things. So currently we are rich on indigenous knowledge, but we are not being tapped to be wealthy about it. If you go in different countries, you see that they are really utilizing the indigenous knowledge. We know about, the best henna, it's in Mombasa. The best Arab is in Mombasa. Blue economy. Everybody talks about blue economy. It's actually now one of the, is it a policy or there's a paper, there's everything about blue economy. But where is it being talked about? It's being talked about
where there's no blue. Okay? So again, we have all these natural resources that we need to be able to tap into them and ensure that we can be able to bring about creativity, innovation, to be able to counter violent extremism. During the COVID period, it was a very interesting period. As much as there was much negativity into it, but there was a lot of positivity. One of the areas that youth mostly going to, it's now going to Arabuni to get employment. And then now that was cut off, all of a sudden. So that again, who had the hard time? It was the women, the girls were having a hard time. Because first of all, we no longer have Arabuni coming to marry us. One of the areas that we were really tapping into. Now what happens to all these young girls who we... One of the things which was very nice, very complimenting, it was, you see a lot of young girls tapping into technology, ICT, social media, saying, my brother can be able to do delivery. Call this number. One thing is that we could not be able to go out, so we are calling these riders. Most of the time to get our food, to get our services and things like that. So that was very, very complimenting that we can be able to tap into this kind of ICT, social media to be able to. And then again, when you look at it, we see that women are working behind the scene most of the time. You will see that, there's a cafe in front, but there's no one cooking. But you'll see all the food that now we have even have, in our front yards. Utaona hizi glasses, ziko na viazi, bajia and things like that. And the person who's selling them at the forefront is a man. But most of the time, that food is always there. Whether we like it or not, you cannot survive without food. And then again, when you go back behind the scene, you'll see that these ladies are cooking. And this is not just any cooking. Okay? Mandazi. Everybody who has mandazi anywhere in Kenya, when they come here, they don't want to see mandazi. They want to eat the real mahamris. Who is the one behind the scene doing that? It's a lady. And also these young girls. So we have all this potential that we need to be able to tap into them and not only ensure that we can be able to enrich ourselves. So again, we're looking at how entrepreneurship and ICT are complementing each other. We've seen a lot of cooking, we've seen a lot of henna design. Probably you're tired of one henna design, you go to another one and another one and another one. So again, these are all resources that we can be able to see. One aspect that has really influenced me is the aspect of chamas. Again, previously we used to think it was wamama ndio wanafanya chama. Now it's the young girls, and actually the funny part is actually even the boys are now getting into it. So when you look at a lot of scenarios and situations, is that these boys are now getting picky-pickies from those chamas. They are actually enriching themselves. I think there's more now vibandas or these areas where people are doing different things. We have a lot of butchery now. Previously it was just, we all know Vipingo, Kizingo and things like that. But now there are all these other butcheries which are coming up. I think eating areas, eateries have now come up in so many ways. Previously shawarma was just in one part. Now I think in each and after every 200 meters, there's a shawarma. So again, all these things, let's stop. I'm not saying that we need to stop, but we need to look into this knowledge that we have created during this pandemic and continue with it and be able to enrich it, to be able to come in a very high way and look into how we can complement. Because again, I'm an academician, I'm a lecturer. For me, I think I will die young because every year I come into contact with youth every year. So I don't think I'm allowed to get old. And you can see, most people, they say that when they look at their teachers who have taught them in nursery, they're still very young. So this is an area that education is key, mentoring is key. Thank you very much to the mentor of Swahili Pod, to Hussein Khalid, all these people who can be able to mentor. No matter how much, no matter how small, you can be able to talk to somebody to be able to ensure that, you can be able to enrich them. Please do it. Initially, I remember when I came back after my education, I was saying that I'm doing a lot of mentoring because I'm tired of my side mirrors being stolen. That is how it all started.
You know, I thought, okay, they're taking my side mirror, and then I go and buy it again, you know, from somebody else who's not going to sell it to me 10 times. I'm sure this person who sold my side mirror has sold it at 200 bob. Now I have to buy it at 2,000 bob. So again, you know, what is making this young person to come and steal from me? Then I realized I have all this information about going to university. So where do I tap it? Then I started going to schools. I've been to a lot of schools in Mombasa, in Kwale, in Kilifi, in Lamu as well, to be able to now tell these people that information is key. And I knew that they didn't have this information with regards to coming to universities and learn, and how they can be able to get what we call, previously we used to call it JAB, now we call it COOPS, that the government is paying almost 80% of your fees, and you only need to top up 20%, but you need to give them a B, you need to give them a C+ and above. So all this information was key, that I ensured that, you know, I could be able to spread it as much as possible, and to be able to get them to be motivated to know that what is expected of them, and what the government can be able to come in along and be able to chip in to be able to see greater potential and tap into this potential. So please, youth, I've seen very good work that is happening here, and you know, the past 8 to 6 months, we've seen it happening. It can be done. So let's please put our hands together, put our energy together, synergize to be able to go to greater length. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much. Very good comments there. Yes, Mr. Njenga Mihiri.
Thank you, Doc. I think I'm excited. Maybe I should have become a teacher. My work is very stressful. I look older than my age. So I'm doing the opposite. And also to hear that even going to Araguni is also part of economic activity. That's very interesting. And maybe colleagues, let me say that, and I think Hussein, because Hussein leading in the CEF Haki Africa until very recently, that maybe we need to move faster, because I see a country like Mombasa, we have a lot of resources which can help these youth and these young girls that we're talking about. But I want to imagine that the coordination bit is still a very big challenge. Everybody is doing their own small things in their own corner. That silo mentality, that silo approach, I think is not helpful. If you look at our donors, our partners who are supporting Mombasa, and you look at the kind of money that each of them will say in the budget they have utilizing in Mombasa, then you look, of course, at the national government, the county government, and all of us. There is a missing link, and which I see as coordination. So maybe we need to move faster and exploit the PCVE approach, because there doesn't seem to be another approach which is actually bringing this coordination together, utilizing the economic pillar and maybe media and internet pillars. If we combine these two, make this innovation of these young people a business, then market it, communicate it through the media and online pillar, I think Mombasa can show the way. And Mombasa incidentally has been showing the way. Halili, you're aware, Daktari, you're aware. We have gone with you even outside the country to showcase Mombasa. Kidogo Mombasa ilikuwa imefifia. Now that I can see you are feeling the pinch, I hope mtaamuka, and we are ready to support you so that we do this coordination, the youth department, from national government, from the county government, and all of us. If we come together and move very fast, Mombasa again will show the way. Asante.
Brilliant coordination, and I think that's a challenge thrown at us, Mombasa, to go back to lead the way. And of course, this is the national government that is talking, saying they are willing, they are ready to support us. If we can come together, then they can do that. We'll hear from Mr. Kasena, and then I'll come to you, Mr. Oizo.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I think nataka niongee kuhusu the part of government support in terms of arts and culture activities for the young people in Mombasa. Na nimesikia kwamba kunaambiwa kwamba coordination pia, we have a problem with coordination, which is very true. But now nataka kuangalia the role of government, national government or county government and the civil society. I think the civil society has played a very big role in terms of arts and culture. What we need right now is the government, because the civil society here today, tomorrow they will not be here. Serikali ndio baba na mama. Si civil society tutakuwa hapa leo, hatutakuwa kesho, ama civil. So I think the government should also focus on issues of budgeting for arts and culture, to take it very seriously. Nikisema hivyo ni kwamba nimemsikia bwana nani ambaye ametoka Film Commission akiongea kuhusu pete. Ametaja pete nikasikia raha. Because nafikiri ukifanya research, if you go to do a well research, pete, Selina, Nyanyarukia, angalia hata ile kipindi nyingine ambayo iko Citizen, almost ukienda pete almost 65% ni vijana ambao wamejengwa na civil society. 65%. Ukienda Nyanyarukia, some even all those who are acting at Nyanyarukia ni watu ambao ni founder members organization ambazo zingine unaziona hapa, because they started from there. So for me, I think the government should take up the role of supporting these young people. Those young people are earning now decent salaries because of the efforts of the arts and culture. But the government has not been there for all this time. Nimemsikia brother pale akiongea kuhusu Little Theatre Club. Little Theatre Club inakufa. Those are resources from the government. Why can't the youth give an opportunity to use that facility with a low rate, so that we go there and showcase our talent? Na watu waje walipe hata mlangoni ili vijana wapate pesa kwa mfuko. So at the same time we are talking about a lot of platforms. Unasikia una pesa ya vijana hawachukui ya arts. But for instance, hizi vitu ziko kwa makaratasi. Because sometimes you request, you want to do a film production as a young person. That is a project which you have identified. You apply money from the government, unaambiwa mwisho unaweza apply ni 100,000. What can you do with 100,000? In a film production, unataka ufanye editing, unataka ununue camera, what can you do with that money? So when it comes there, then vijana wanaona hii serikali hata haitusaidii, because there's a lot of laws and regulations ambazo haisaidii vijana. So for me, what I'm trying to say is, let the government come in, work together with the civil society. I think Mombasa will wake up again the way they are saying, because there's a lot of opportunity, but nobody is listening to these young people. That is the danger we have right now.
Thank you very much. And he's speaking from experience, because he's been in this sector of art for many years, and he has nurtured a very good number of artists who are now, featuring in Pete and other productions. So, the challenge, civil society, like you say, we need to work together. We need to synergize so that we can do better for our youth and for art and culture.
Asante. Na mniruhusu nisimame. Kwanza kabisa, I would like to urge each and everyone to appreciate the role of government. And the only way you will appreciate that particular role is to first accept that government is you and me. Civil society, private sector, employees of government, we are government. I think when we appreciate that fact, then it will not be an issue of us versus them. Because the moment you create that bridge, then it will become a problem. Artists, I think today we are so privileged as a nation that a few years ago, the fiber optic cable landed here in Mombasa, not so many meters away from where we are. And the reason as to why the government found it fit to have the fiber optic cable land was to open up the digital space. That digital space is it's actually open, and it's open for all of us to do business. The young people have room to sell their content anywhere across the world. All we need is to package that content properly, produce content for the market, don't produce content to keep. What are we doing to ensure that there is content distribution and monetization of the same? I know, I grew up from the village, and indeed, as that gentleman said, there were days when we used to find a kind of entertainment through watching a movie at least once a month. But today, you are able to access content anytime. You don't have to wait for once a month. And that's the power of technology and internet. So, what is the Commission doing to empower the youths? We have the following programs that are open. The Commission currently doesn't give any loan to anyone, but we have some money that we are giving to the industry. We have a program called the Film Empowerment Program. And you can be able to access up to 5 million shillings. There is no restriction. All you need is for you to present your paperwork. Currently, that particular code is out. Go to Kenya Film Commission website. That is kenyafilmcommission.com. Please go to that website. If you have a project, do all that is required. Apply. And we do not have any discriminatory tendencies. This particular product is open to each and every one of us. The other key program that we are undertaking, and I focus to this region because this is where we are today. About 4 weeks ago, we were here and we met the entire leadership of the Jumuiya counties of Pwani. That is the entire 6 counties. And our intention is to engage county governments to support the arts sector or the creative sector. Because we know for a very long time this sector did not get support. Why? From the house, your family members will not, when growing up, you are being nurtured to become something else. Not to become a musician, not to become a filmmaker. And this is a campaign that we must have, all of us, that let's encourage our children to focus entirely in this sector, and any activity they are undertaking within the creative sector is an economic and social activity. So, as a result, we also undertake capacity building programs, and these programs are purely free. Hub like Swahili Pot is a facility that has been set up by private sector. Kenya Film Commission is coming to set up another film hub in this county. And we are saying in the next few years we would like to see 47 film hubs. We have already set up a few in other counties, and we are here because we want to set up hubs that will enable young creatives to produce content without having to worry about where do I get the equipment, where do I get the artists. When we offer the capacity building, it's aimed to boost the kind of content that we produce. Because today, you compete with your counterpart in wherever they are. So, the most you need to do is to produce content that can be sold. The other area that I want to encourage ourselves is that, like what we saw here today, it is possible that we can, and this I implore to the county government, of whom I would like to partner with to doing this. We can have a monthly screening here in Mombasa as a way of promoting these young stars, so that we're able to showcase the talent and open up space for all this. Then lastly, monetization. We must know how to make money out of our work, because you may have all the talent, but if you are everything, then it will be impossible for you to create wealth out of your skills. My urge to each one of us is that let us rally together, let us join hands. Government is your friend because you are government, right? So let us do this together and ensure that our children are role models and our parents are also role models to each other. So with those few remarks, the Commission continues to engage the civil society. Let us work together to show the public that there is hope. Let us not show any component that will disgruntle these young people. Because as somebody said earlier, it is very easy to disorient a young person, because if you don't entertain them, then things will go the other way. With those few remarks, thank you very much, and let's support the creative sector.
Thank you very much. Asante sana. We still have Madam Ulfat. We have, of course, Madam Emma and Dr. Sophia. Of course, we'll get to hear from Mr. Miri again. But there were two burning questions, so that we can take this. I don't want to keep people here for longer than is necessary because of lunch. So, naomba microphone kule, and then we'll get to hear from our three panelists, also responding to the two questions. Kuna swali pia? Kuna mwingine labda? Hakuna. Okay. So let's just, very briefly, if you can, please just for less than a minute because of time.
Mambo vipi jamaa? Mko fresh? Likuwa mimi la kusema ni kwamba hakuna mtu ambaye kwamba anaweza kutoka sasa mpaka ugustie mzee. Hakuna vile mpaka ujulikane ndio utatoka kitalent. Kwa sababu gani nasema hivi? Ni vijana wengi ambao kwamba wako na talent, lakini mpaka ujulikane uko kwenye shirika fulani na uko creative ndio utatoka. Sasa kwa nini hizi hapo barazi kama media wasizunguke mashinani kama kitambo vile walivyokuwa kifanya, na kuangalia ni vijana gani ambao kwamba wako na talent ama ni vitu gani ambavyo kwamba vimefanyika kwa vijana, ili wao ndio watu boost kama media na sisi tujulikane watatufanyia vipi. Na kama serikali kama nyinyi pia mko na hiyo mambo na theaters za waenda kama audition, kwa nini nyinyi pia msifungue bahari ama media fulani mkasema hii media acha izunguke mashinani ili tujue ni talent ziko wapi, na sisi pia vijana tuwaendeleze kitalanta zao ili iweze kualipa. Asante kwa hilo.
Asante sana. Pale nyuma anasema watu wa media, watu wa arts waingie mashinani, waangalie zile talanta zilizoko kule mashinani waweze kuwa expose. Yes boss.
Asante sana. Kwa majina naitwa Hamad Tenguli na nafurahi kufika hapa na nitaomba kuchangia hivi. It's in the moment of decision that destiny is shaped. And I think this initiative is so perfect, lakini nitaomba kukosoa nikisema we are not focusing on the youth but PR. Nikisema hivyo namaanisha nini? Vijana kama vijana ndio walengwa, na how are we going to reach these youth ndio waweze kuwa beneficiary wa hiyo activity? Kwa mfano, ingekuwa bora wakati tuko hapa sasa hizi kijana kutoka mashinani Kongoea awe yuko hapa. Ingekuwa bora sasa hizi kijana kutoka mashinani kule chini kabisa Moroto ako hapa, kwa sababu yeye ako na talent lakini hajui atafikaje. The problem that we have is the disconnect between the offices and the community. So hiyo disconnect ikirekebishwa, so much will be done. Number 2, mimi kama Lavishat, I'm having an online TV inaitwa Lavishat TV. Ukienda pale utaona exclusive interview over 40 nimefanyia wasanii wa Mombasa, nimefanyia entrepreneurs wa Mombasa, young guys ambao as I'm speaking I've employed 192 youths ambao wako kwenye kufanya kazi na nawalipa. Lengo langu nilibisha milango mingi sana kwa serikali, na I can say this for a fact. Mombasa County, I went to an office of a youth, nikapeleka proposal concerning the same thing, nikaambiwa nitaongeleshwa, miaka 2 imeisha sijaongeleshwa. Kwa county, I went to the office, when the minister talked about the same thing, a nice project, tukaonyesha, ikabaki na kwa gazeti imewekwa, nikipiga simu nikiuliza na mbwa baba kuna kitu kama hiyo kufanya. So we are demoralizing us kama vijana. Kwa hivyo hiyo kitu inaumiza, na tafadhalini tuheshimu maoni ya vijana na tupatane pasa kwenye kazi. Ukipita pale YouTube utaona Lavishat, ukigoogle YouTube you'll see, and you'll see the impact that I'm making to change the youth in Mombasa.
Thank you very much. Brilliant. That's a very good example. Lavishat TV. Tulete hapa kwa Onslow, tumsikie msanii pia. Kisauni yeye. Iko wapi microphone? Alafu kuna mkono wa mwisho ilikuwa ni wapi? There was a hand somewhere. Peana hapa kwanza alafu tarudi kwako. Huyu ndio watakuwa wa mwisho kutoka Niade.
Yes, assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Ya mimi naitwa Onslow, nafanya hip hop rap na niko na project ambayo inaitwa Acha Gun Shika Mic. Nikianza project yangu ya Acha Gun Shika Mic because I'm from Kisauni, one of the major hotspots of crime, radicalization, extremism. So nilitaka kuchangisha wale marafiki zangu mtaani, because I realized that my music, wanasikiza my music sana. Hata without before ngoma yangu ifike kwenye media, kwenye radio, kwenye TV, wao tayari wako nazo kwa simu. So I said, how can I use this talent kufikisha hii message ya mambo na extremism na crime iwafikie? So nikaanza kutumia my music. So nimefika point now 3 years now, and I feel like my security haiko safe, because mtaani kuna marafiki zangu saizi wakiniona sana Holmes ni mnoko. Hiyo project ambayo anafanya kama achagana shika mic inamnufaisha yeye, but in real sense inatunufaisha sisi sote. So chenye za kuuliza, maybe kwa county government and national government and civil societies, what role can you do ama can you make ama fanye kupatia security kwa such kind of people like me, art ambao tunatumia art ama wasanii wote ambao wanatumia art, because issue na mambo na extremism, preventing violence na extremism si kitu rahisi, and that's why unapata organizations si rahisi wafike pale mashinani wakaongelea kuhusu issue, because something very critical. Ndio maana wanatumana vijana mtaani, jamaa go and do this and this, ushaona. So sisi tunatumika pale kwenye ground. So unasema ukiangalia our life, kitu gani unaweza kufanya, security gani unaweza kutupatia, because it's something serious, because unaweza potea anytime, kwa sababu hii kitu ni biashara. Na ndio tunafanya sana issue acha gashi kama hiyo, kwa mambo na drugs, kwa mambo na crime, extremism, wanatuambia biashara, tunameliminate. So jamaa mimi nasema hii issue ya crime, mambo na extremism tunafanya hapa ama kuingia mtaani kule si kitu rahisi. So jamani, tupatie security pia sisi, tuangalie pia sisi tufanye this kind, we are safe. Thank you so much.
Very nice, very good point. Security ya vijana ambao wamejitolea kujaribu kuleta mabadiliko katika jamii ambao wanaitwa wanoko mitaani. Nafikiri this is a very important issue, and of course we'll hear from the panel. Yes, the last contribution from the plenary, alafu tuje tufunge kwa sababu unaambiwa chakula kiko tayari, so we don't want to take so much time to eat into the lunch. Please.
So mimi ni Victor kutoka na music producer pia kwa msanii, but issue nafikiri hata ndugu zetu wale walimu sio pale wanachangia sana. Unajua muziki talent, naweza kuwa na talent lakini kwa biashara sikopoa, ndio siwezi na kwa ofisi nikaanza kujitetea kama vitu fulani, ndio sasa unakuta mtu amaliza university anasema hakuna kazi na kuna knowledge kubwa anaweza kumchukua kama msanii, akaona bado anaweza kunikuza na yeye pia sila kwa anaweza kutakiwa, but hafanyi hivyo. Maana si kwa nini like wameachilia tu sana hivyo. Alafu kitu kingine, hata sisi ambao tuko hapa sote, like kila mtu anafaa kuwa kuna impact tumefanya upande wa talent. NGOs na kwa madona mnaambia tunachukua vijana wanafanya hizi vitu, at least ingekuwa kila NGO iko na mahali kwa studio recording, iko na production ya videos, wale vijana wanachukua kila siku mnafanya audios, mnafanya videos, mna promote kule mbele, at least mlikuwa mmechukua nafasi fulani nafanya. But kama kila siku tunasema nani atafanya, ni wewe tayari umeongea, unajua unaona kwa kitu gani ambao unaweza kufanya, but kila siku tunasema watu unajua haisaidii upande wao. Alafu pia nafikiri kama madam alivyosema pale upande wa na digital kama vijana, hiyo digital iko poa, lakini unakuta nimeshoot kitu wangu alafu unakuta sina hata hela, unaona. Ile internet yenyewe ni gani Kenya, unajua safari kwa mdogo inanyonya mbaya sana. Sasa kama internet yenyewe inasumbua upload kitu yangu, niko na content kabisa lakini siwezi upload. Pia at least mngekuwa mnaweza tengeza upande wa serikali, yeye anaweza tengeza upande wa art, kwetu kuna papers plan, unajua. Kama na upload kitu kama msanii ambaye niko mdogo, at least data inaweza kwa yaani kitu kama hizo media zenyewe zinachangia, unajua. Ni biashara ni kweli, lakini tunauza vitu gani? Unakuta media inashangilia bila kiingi huko. Tunasaidia nini bila kiingi, unajua. Mombasa mji kidogo sana tunaonyesha watu wa Kenya, unajua. Wao ni kweli. Si yaani tulichokiangalia ni kitu moja sana ambao ni ya Kenya ambao tuangalia. Ni sawa, ni biashara hata kama, lakini sisi tunatoa pesa zetu tunaangalia, nalipia zuku, nalipia starter tunaangalia. Lakini mimi kama msanii mwisi faidiki na angalia mtu ambao kutoka mbali, hamtusaidii. Lakini kila siku anakuja anatuambia si nini vijana mbadilike. Opportunities ziko mingi, unajua. Upande wa art ndio njia pekee ambao at least Kenya watu wangeza kwa serious wapa invest huko, at least tungechukuka place mobs, kwa sababu msanii mmoja anaweza kuandika watu wetu manager, kuna mtu wa branding, kuna mtu pale ndo mtu ambaye anakupeleka matours ni unajua. So umeandika watu wengi, lakini sasa sisi tumekaza education pia sisi tunahitaji education. Sasa mimi ni msanii, unajua nahitaji mafunzo, unipatie YouTube na hiyo YouTube utapata kulipa. Sijui chochote kuhusu YouTube, unaeleza kuhusu YouTube italipa vipi? Kila siku na share tu link tu hivyo, mwisho siku hakuna kitu kinaingia. So education si njia moja ile kwenda kugraduate peke yake, unajua. Ile talent yenyewe pia nataka mafunzo, lakini iko wapi malemo mafunzo? Najua nikitoa tu. So nafikiri kwa ndio sisi tungechukua hiyo, sisi wenyewe pia tuwekemea hapo.
Thank you very much. Nafikiri hizi contributions ni muhimu sana kutoka county, tumesikia kutoka Kwale, kutoka Lamu, kutoka Kilifi. Education sector challenge. Hatutaki tu kusomeshwa sheria, kusomeshwa business management, can Pwani University take up filming as a course? Wasomeshe watu, tutaka kuona diploma in marketing, they are good in this, na vipi wanaweza kujisell. So these are challenges that are thrown at us, and I think now nataka tuje tusikie from tutaanza na Madam Ulfat, alafu tuende kwa Madam Emma, and then Dr. Sophia, and then we'll have another round for everyone to give us their parting shot as we close for this session. So, Madam, have you sanitized the microphone? Where's the microphone? Please sanitize. What did I sanitize? Oh, just sanitize your sir, please.
Asante sana. Nimesikia youth malalamishi mengi. Malalamishi ni ya ukweli, malalamishi ni ya haki. Kuna haki ya vijana, haki ya Mkenya kuzungumza anachokihitaji, freedom of expression, association and so forth, human bill of rights. Lakini kuna kitu kimoja post region ambacho mimi nimekiona. Mimi nimelelewa bara. Nimesoma Mombasa, a small sneak peek. Nikaenda kusoma bara. And I told myself, kutoka Eldoret sitarudi coast. I told my friends, I'm not going back to poverty. Mimi nyumbani kwetu hali ilikuwa ni ngumu sana. Ningerudi nyumbani na pale kwetu hakuna ile mzazi kukwambia fanya hichi fanya hichi. Kwetu ni kupika, utaambiwa amka upike and stuff. So vijana tuamkeni, tuache kujionea huruma, tuache kusema serikali hivi na hivi. Ndio wako na tunahitaji usaidizi kwao, lakini we mwenyewe unafanya nini kama wewe? Kuna NGOs nyingi hapa. Ukiita kijana kuja volunteer atakwambia hakuna payment yoyote. Who is willing to volunteer? Kama sisi wengine tumevolunteer for 10 years kwa shirika la Supkem. Tumefanya kazi bure. Tunatembea huku na huku, lakini sasa vijana hataki kufanya kazi ya volunteer ili kusoma, ile exposure tupate. Hiyo ndio challenge ambayo tutapatia sisi kama vijana, ili ujue ukifanya ile volunteering unapata exposure, unapata experience, hata networking pale. Utakutana na mtu atamwambia, "Alafu jieleze. Mimi ni fulani, nimefanya kitu fulani, nataka let people know what you can do." Usikae tu useme nina talanta ukae nayo. Mwambie mtu, "Nataka nikufanyie kazi." Hata ya kwanza itakuwa ni bure. Ya pili nitakupatia invoice. Yaani tujitume. Nairobians na watu wengine si kwa ubaya. Utakuta mtu anajituma, anatukana na society, social media inamtukana, lakini yuko kama ule Simple Simon. Ule kijana anaimba, wangapi wanamtusi, but he's still there. Anajua siku moja siku yake itafika, but hakai nyuma akilalamika. Anajisongesha mbele kabisa. So tujitoe vijana.
Very, very important contribution. Tujiangalie sisi wenyewe kwanza. What are we doing before we point fingers to others? Yes.
I wanted to say something, but I think it could also be as a way of, as a parting shot, because I think we have run out of time. So I feel like government representatives in this setting, I think you feel attacked. I don't know if you feel attacked. Do you? Do you feel like we're expecting too much of you? No, you're okay? I think I want everyone to understand that the state and its machinery who are represented herein are custodians of all our rights, and we are right to hold them accountable. I feel like art, or investing in art, investing in innovation for the youth, setting up such a space, it's very cost effective. I know the governments worry a lot about money and finances and funds, it's very cost effective. So instead of tackling maybe violent extremism head-on, buying tanks, maintaining armories, art is very cost effective compared to buying a tank. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah? So that's it from me. Thank you so much.
I hope we understand what she's referring to. Zile pesa labda zinatumiwa katika kununua vifaa ama zana za vita. What she's saying is, if that money is reinvested in art, in other creative industries, then we are better able to serve our community much better than actually buying guns and bullets and all that. Thank you for that. I will be coming this way. Dr. Sophia.
Thank you very much. Mine is first and foremost to thank my brother Mahmoud, Swahili Port, the host of this event, for giving the youth an ample opportunity to showcase their talents and abilities. And it's from this that many other organizations or many other areas want to implement youth centers. So he's an inspiration to many, and we appreciate you. Thank you very much for this platform. The other thing I want to say is challenge the government, the national government, on the issue of returnees and amnesty. Yeah, we all agree that human is to err, right? We all make mistakes. We all can get decisions. We cannot make decisions that we don't think about or we put under certain circumstances. We know the issues that cause CVE, violence extremism, marginalization, poverty, lack of opportunities. All those things are the cause. So when one goes there and realizes they've made a mistake, an amnesty is there, but it's not put in the law. And there's no policy as to guidelines as to when someone can come back to mainstream society. So I would urge the government to bring about a policy on amnesty. If somebody was radicalized and now they've changed their ways, how can they be brought back without being stigmatized or criminalized for the mistakes that they made? And then secondly is the issue of opportunity. I want to thank the individual who spoke there and Onslow on the work that they're doing using their art and talents to bring awareness to the issue of violence, extremism, and many other issues, gender-based violence, and promoting peace.
Let's celebrate each other, let's compliment each other, let's applaud each other. Unajua kuna mahali ambapo mtu unamjua, let's promote each other. So we need to be each other's keepers. Tutaendelea kucomplain serikali hatuko na sisi, serikali hatuko na sisi. I think the commissioner has said it very well and tumeambiwa very well. Ukipata corona, unajipanga. Hakuna NHIF. So already I think the message is very clear. We have to be each other's keepers. Putting a mask, as simple as that, una prevent death, one or another. So again, ni hizi vitu vidogo vidogo ambavyo nimeviongelea kwa vinaweza kutupeleka mbali na vitaweza hata by the time serikali ikija kukusaidia, tumejisaidia sisi wenyewe. Kwa hivyo tuanze na kujisaidia sisi wenyewe mwanzo. Asante sana.
Thank you very much. And we're getting the parting shots from our panel so that we can break for lunch. Yes. On. Maybe as we are sorting them. Okay, yeah, let's use that one. Thank you. It has been sanitized.
Thank you.
Fundi wa mitambo, tusaidie hapo. Maybe Kenya Field, Mr. Westo, as we are sorting the list. Yes.
Thank you, colleagues. First of all, let me say that it's true that the government appreciates that some of these youth landed into those spaces without evil intentions. Because of some circumstances, some of them were hoodwinked. In fact, I'm getting worried. Maybe Corona has helped. Maybe that those so-called moving to those places maybe could have been that bad without some of them knowing, and they landed in trouble. So the government still has that program of disengagement, and but as an individual program, we deal with an individual, not a group. So it's still there. So I want to confirm that. As the President indicated the last time during the State of the Nation address, people are given second chances. So the program is there. Now, if you look at the AGPO, name it, so much. So we need now to see how to unlock. In fact, as you have already said, in most of these counties, these funds are not even utilized. So we need to find out what, and create forums. Halid, I hope you can take lead in this and our Cve forum, so that we can disseminate this information, bring experts to talk to this youth. You see, like now when my brother here from the Kenya Film talks, you hear new things that you did not know. This is the kind of thing that we need, so that we get experts. Can we have the CDF board coming on the ground and talking to the people? We organize those kind of forums, Kenya Film and everybody else. I think that one will be very helpful, because what is lacking is that information and also feedback from the consumers of these products. If the youth are saying those are stories, hizo ni matheory, then we have to check what's wrong with it. The packaging must be wrong. We could have a very good content, but the packaging is wrong. So that again, from that feedback, we are able to review and see how we can make them simple. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very, very interesting. That's a piece that we have not looked into. That there are opportunities, but how to access those opportunities might be the challenge that we have. From all sectors, actually, national government, county, maybe even private sector, maybe even for society, but then there is no interconnection between those who need those services and those who want to provide those services. And this is something I think we will explore further, and Swahili Port and others might take up. Yes, please.
Thank you. Mine is just to make a rallying call to all the youths in this region that we need to form groupings in form of associations or guilds, so that, for example, my organization, when it's engaging, it will be very difficult for me to engage individuals. Let us engage as groups. At the same time, please sign up with the Kenya Film Commission Directory, so that we recognize you as an artist, because we have space for everyone. When we have your details, then it is easy to tailor-make programs based on your need. I think for now, this has been an interesting discussion. There is a lot we need to do together, and please don't look at government as your enemy, because again, you are government. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are government, very true. So please register, Kenya Film Commission. The artists who are here, filmmakers, producers, please register so that they can be able to test you. Madam Ulfat, your parting shot, please. Is it on?
Hapa tuko na kazi ya kuosha kila kitu. Sasa nashukuru event imekuwa so far, tumeenda vizuri, organizers kazi nzuri, wageni panelists kuongea mambo mazuri, maoni ya vijana, maoni ya kila mtu, yote ni maoni mazuri, hakuna maoni ambayo si mazuri. Kwa hivyo sijioni umetoa maoni mabaya. Kitu ambacho tumekosa kuona leo hali, and I'm sure you work with a lot of Islamic clerics, atakuwa hata na sheikh mmoja. Unajua pia wao wanafaa kuja kuambia vijana talanta si haramu, you know. Wajua watu wengi katika dini wamejifunga, especially wasichana, naambiwa hii ni haramu, hii si haramu. Pia wao wapate kuonyeshwa na watueleze, na sisi pia tuelewe kwamba dini imeturuhusu kufanya mambo fulani kwa uhuru wetu. So I think next time tutapata on board, na mama wetu pia waambiwe talanta kwa watoto kwa dini haijazuia. Islamic reforms is being done in a very extreme manner. So having them on board next time will be very, very vital.
Excellent. I think this is an omission on our part, and we've taken note of that. But yes, we will make sure in future gatherings that we have the religious leaders who can actually speak to us on this issue. Thank you, madam, for that. And now we'll get from Kocha Africa to wrap up the session, because there are also part of the organizers of this
shot. Yeah, I think my parting shot, I will urge the government to work with the youth, not to work for the youth. And also look at the cartels who call themselves like they're working for the youth, but bring the youth on board themselves and listen to them. I think we will achieve a lot, because we are missing out the linkages of the young people, because there's some cartels who feel like they're the ones working for the youth. And for us, I think we need to work with the youth, but not for the youth. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Applause, please, for our panelists. They've done a wonderful job. I think we've learned so much. Myself, maybe I came into this as a CVE organization, and we were being teamed up by us, but then we've learned quite a lot from you. And I'm sure as Haki Africa and my colleagues who are here, we will be calling on you at different intervals. I like the idea cartels work with, not for, you know. We've heard how we can actually change our mindset. Religion should not tie us down. We've learned so much about the Kenya Film Commission. Thank you so much, and we'll definitely follow up. NCTC, now we know. When we thought there was no amnesty, there is a reintegration program, and we can of course approach NCTC on these issues. Dr. Nadia has had to run. She has a station in Kwale. She was supposed to be there at 2 p.m. So thank you to her also. Of course, Dr. Sophia, very wonderful contributions, and I think we've learned that you know, the private sector needs to do even more. And of course, you are from the private sector, and hopefully you will be the link for us to be able to get to reach to the private sector. And of course, Madam Emma. Okay, Madam Emma, of course, herself a Swahili board member, and she has challenged us. She has challenged the government to be able to do more also. Nimeambiwa before nifunge, someone wants to give a parting shot and appreciation to the panelists from the audience. Ni nani? Oh.
So mimi nashukuru kwa hapa, na nashukuru pia wote ambao wamefanya hii kitu kwa hapa. Ni kitu poa sana ambazo zingekuwa zinafanyika, nafikiri zingekuwa zinatujenga, kwa sababu kutoka hapa tunajua vitu vingi, like unajua kijana ukiwa kule tu ma studio unajua kitu kunaendelea nini huko nje, like kuna comment yako tu ni muziki ambao tulikuwa nafikiria, but zikiwa kama hizi nafikiri zinatujenga kwa njia moja na nyingine. But still pia ni kwanza kwa wale ambao wanasema tumeenda kwa government, like kuna hizo shida sioni kama government na shida, na government ni structure nzuri sana, but shida ni ile mtu pale kwa youth hajui chochote kuhusu talent, wana chochote kabisa. Wanasema degree ile elimu hata ile chochote kuhusu muziki. At least kama walikuwa na kwa ni sanaa ni nikwambia nataka video kamera ya video anaelewa kitu gani. Lakini anakuambia kitu chochote unamueleza mtu ni kama hata ajua unaongea nini. Kizungu mingi unajua unaongelesha hivi anakupatia kizungu mingi, hata anashinda kizungu itafanya nini? Okay, alafu utasema wale wasanii, unajua, okay, hatufi moyo vijana tunachangamka. Mimi pale Kilifi zaidi, utasema ni kijana ambaye nimeweza kufuata government, kutafuta misaada mpaka sasa kuna record label ambayo iko Kilifi inaitwa 003 ambao tumefungua audio production, na sasa tunamaliza video production na tuna management team ambao ndio studio ya kwanza, record label ya kwanza itakuwa hapa coast kwa kufanya kila kitu. So tunaweza kujiona wenzangu kujaribu kushikana, kujaribu kupigana ugaidi huko, lakini pia opportunities ziko ni kustruggle.
Thank you very much. Tunashukuru sana.